The story of clenched fists.
We all have a satisfaction associated with doing something that somebody finds useful.
A clenched fist has a number of meanings. And most of them are angry, frustrated, violent, but they're clearly associated with a lot of energy, no matter what, right? Now, when I was doing martial arts regularly, like several times a week and earning belts, and I got up to a second degree black belt in Tang Sudo and a black belt in Shurite and a couple of others. One of the things we practiced was exactly how to clench your fist, precisely where to put the fingers as you rolled your hand up and the right angles and everything. And it had to do with physics and making a fist work and maximum striking surface and impact and all of those things. And that's important if a clenched fist is important. So if I'm going through a kata that includes a number of breaks, breaking things, boards or bricks or whatever, then having that done correctly is critical, or you'll break stuff in your body, not the bricks. I remember my second degree black belt test was 2 days long, and at the end of the second day, after you had done long written tests, workout, and then all the knowledge things, the kata and the tests of combinations, and then you did some sparring, and that was by the second day, and you sparred people that were not worse than you but better than you, higher belts, and you were tired and they weren't, and so it was pretty grueling. At the end, the very end, was an orchestrated dance, and the orchestrated dance was not to show off your dance moves but to break a certain number of breaking stations. In my particular set, I had 8 breaking stations set up that went all the way from board suspended in the air to side kicks and elbows, and so I structured mine to get increasingly difficult all the way through. So starting with 1 board and then 2, several with 2 and elbows, and then 3 and then 4, and the last piece of that was 5 of those cinder block tops, that are about 13 or 14 inches long and 9 or 10 or 11 inches wide and 1.5 inches or 2 thick. 5 of those. And I had to set them all up, put people in a certain thing, and measured them so that my dance could be done a certain way. All of the 10 breaks were accomplished, I think, probably in less than 10 seconds because you didn't have a lot of time. So I tell you that whole long setup and story because at that time, a clenched fist and all of its analogs with your feet and everything else was critical. But most of the time, we live in a time and space where a clenched fist is not only not critical, but it is a detriment. And what I mean is this: when I'm doing strikes and, if you were to do that, total focus of power at that specific 2 or 3 square inches is critical, or you'll break all the bones in your arm. That kind of focus is necessary in our minds and our creativity. It's very rarely required in our bodies. Yet, much of the time we operate from a place of nervousness, fear, anxiety, being uptight, and sometimes even you see people with clenched fists or tight shoulders, and you see that and you know that in their heart is anxiety, and pretty soon they have shoulder aches and headaches and tension, migraines, and all of those things that come from living with clenched fists. So today what I want you to think about is, where in your life are you living with a clenched fist? Now let me give you some examples. Perhaps there's someone that you work with regularly. You don't get along, or you think you don't. That's the story you have. And so every time you interact with them, it's nervous. You have something uptight, or you avoid it when possible. That's living with a clenched fist. It's living in a non-productive way, because every thought on the job, in the job, around the job, or the work that involves them puts you in a place of avoidance, upsetness, negativity, which robs your creativity and everything about that, right? And so that's a place of a clenched fist. So let's say there's been some stress in a relationship at home, your significant other or spouse. You've got an unresolved issue or 2 or 3, or maybe it's been going on for a month or even longer. Same thing, avoidance, not really listening. You can't really listen when you're in protective mode, you know, when you're ready to do battle. And so again, that is a stance that will damage your relationship and prevent its healing. So let's talk about business growth. If I live in fear of my business, like, where's my client going to come from? What am I going to do? And I live like that, my creativity is blocked. My ability to create is diminished. My love and heart is not engaged. And my creativity is probably 10%. Well, in that kind of frame, you're not going to find your best work. You're not going to be in your zone of genius or even your zone of excellence, one cut down. So catching, understanding, and feeling where you live with clenched fists is critical to liberation. So here's how you do it. Every time you have a sense, now you know where tension shows up in your body. For some people it's in the shoulders or the neck, or jaw biting things, or sometimes it's in the stomach, butterflies, or you have a sense of unease about you. The minute, the second, the microsecond you notice that sense of anxiety or unease, stop. Do one of two things. Figure out right quick where it's from, and if you can't decide where it's from, then embrace it. I'm anxious, but I'm not really afraid. What I am is excited about what I'm going to do. And develop a strategy to either excite your way into the coming thing or figure out what's really wrong and then handle it. So let me give you some examples. Again, you've got a relationship issue that's not handled. Had one earlier today with one of my clients. They were talking to me about a conversation they needed to have, right? With someone that was one of their clients. It was a little unpleasant and da-da-da. We talked about it for a minute. I handed them the phone, said, okay, let's get this done. Oh, and they went and had their phone call. 15 minutes later, came back. Easier than they thought. But the key was recognizing it, getting a hold of it, and handling it. Recognize the tension, the symbols, the clenched fist, internally or externally, emotionally or physically. Figure out what to do and then handle it now. That's how you handle a clenched fist. And if you feel anxiety and you can't even figure out why, like I'm scared I'll fail or haven't done this before, then just love your way into it. I'm feeling the anxiety. No, actually it's excitement. And play the game of I'm gonna get this and move to a different place. But most of the time you're going to know right away what it is that's causing you to be defensive, angry, withdrawn, and then create the strategy and handle it now. Address it. Then you can drop it and you're free. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you for watching the videos. Take this opportunity, leave a comment, subscribe most of all, and don't forget to spread the word about this channel.